This is the Waterford Historical Society Oral History Project interview of Barbara Douse on June 1st, 2017 at Barbara's home in Lower Waterford. The interviewers are Donna Heath and Lynn.
All set. Hi, Barbara. I got a whole list of questions for you.
Okay.
But first, we'd like to start with where you were born.
I was born in Brockton, Massachusetts,
Brockton.
1928.
And where were you raised? In Massachusetts?
Yes, I didn't move to Vermont until I lived in the same home down there until I was 20. And that's the year my mom and dad and I moved to Lower Waterford, Vermont.
Oh, when you were 20.
And why?
Well, they were always in the restaurant business. They ran an industrial cafeteria down there, and it was a beautiful place and nice people to work for and everything, but they had been wanting for the last few years to make a change, and they didn't find anything, down that way. And one year, they were able to take a vacation together. Usually they couldn't because they kept this place open even the week of the 4th. Well, this one year, the boss came to my dad and said they were going to do something different. They were going to close down the week of the 4th. So that's why they were able to take a trip together. They said, let's go somewhere different than we've ever been. So we three went to Niagara Falls. And on the way back, the plan was to go down the coast of Maine, Route 1, I guess it would be. My dad made a little slip, and he got onto Route 18, down at the foot of the hill to Route 2 and Route 18, and we ended up coming through Waterford and discovered the guest house was where it is now, is across the street. And we decided, or my dad decided, we better stop. It was getting late. Mom wanted to stay at a motel, but he said, we don't know how much further we'll have to go. We better stay here. Well, the next morning they discovered this beautiful view of the Connecticut River and the mountains all around. And my mother was one of these exuberant people that she was so thrilled with the whole thing. She said, if you ever decide to sell this place, would you let us know? And the lady said, it's for sale now. I'm making this too long. And they had come from Connecticut, the man and woman, and I guess the little boy was about 10 or 12. And she was the only one that wanted to go back to Connecticut, but I guess she's the one that got her way. And so, golly, they really got excited about it, even my dad. And the lady she was pretty bright. She said, have you ever been up here in the fall? This was 4th of July week when we came. Have you ever been up here in the fall? And no, we hadn't. So she said, well, whatever you do, whether you're interested in the place or not, you should come up in the fall. Well, my dad couldn't get any more time off, but my mother did. She came up on the train. Those people met her at the train in St. Johnsbury. She stayed up the whole week. Got to go down to the church meeting, meet all the ladies. She had a wonderful week. And Dad and I came up after her the next weekend, and she was just thrilled beyond words with the whole thing. So on the way home, I remember the conversation so well. One of them said to the other, if we don't buy that place, we're crazy. Of course, they didn't have anything much to do with, but I don't know if it was right then, but very soon after they put the house up for sale down there. And we moved up November 21st that year.
What year
November
was that?
21st, 1949.
Fantastic.
Did I say too much?
No, this is exactly what we want to know.
Oh,
You came almost the same time I did.
really?
Only I was just maybe 2-year-old.
Wow. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And where were you before that?
California.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where my brother and I were born.
For goodness
Because
sake.
my father was in the military
See, I don't know. I must have known that, but I don't remember.
a while ago. What did they do for work for the next few years?
Well, we started the guest house. Oh, first of all, the place was called Maplehurst Farm at the time we bought it. Here's a picture of it. I don't know just when it was, but not too long after, they decided they would like to make it a guest house. And so they changed the name to Countryside Guest House. And we only had 4 spare rooms up in the upper level, but boy, we became real busy with just word of mouth. People that knew from down Massachusetts that we'd moved up here, and one would tell the other, you know. And so they were very busy, and we had wonderful, wonderful times. And my mother served all the meals. Yeah.
Well,
So, and then my dad tried to find a job, and he finally did. It took him a while to find a job. He worked for Parker Drugstore in St. Johnsbury, running the little cafeteria, or lunch, whatever they called it back then. And my mother did the guest house. And I found a job right away. I was fortunate. I found a job at the trucking company, which was fine, only I had worked at Brockton Hospital right out of high school, and I loved the medical field. So I heard that there was going to be an opening down at the Fitch Clinic, and that was about 1950. So I only worked at the trucking company about 6 months when I went down to the Fitch Clinic for the next few years to work.
and what did you do there?
Secretary, yeah.
And how long were you there?
5 years,
Uh-huh.
until our first child was going to be born.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You must have been at the fixed clinic when they took me in to have my stitches out when I ran into the barbed wire fence
Probably.
when I was 6 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Something I've never forgotten.
Oh,
I
probably.
was scared to death to have the stitches taken out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess you probably knew everybody.
Well, yes, it was a wonderful place to work. I've never worked any place where I didn't enjoy it.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. The Brockton Hospital, and then the trucking company was fine, only I had an offer that I liked better, the clinic. And then after my children were pretty well grown, I went to work at ophthalmology for 25 years up in St. Johnsbury for Dr. Thomas and Dr. Hull.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the people who owned the inn before you bought it? Do you remember?
The one over here, yes, I do. It was Ed and Agnes Spires, Spiers. I think it had an S on the end of it. Yes.
So where did you meet Donald?
Oh, we met at a square dance.
Oh, wow.
He was from Walden.
And it was in St. Jay?
No,
This
it was
way
somewhere up Lindenville way where we, yeah,
You traveled.
a little bit.
And when did you get married?
May 3rd, 1953.
And where did you get married?
Right down here to the little church in the village. Here's picture.
Oh, great.
I just thought you might like to see.
Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to want to take these home and scan them into the computer, these pictures, so that we'll go with your interview.
If you want, I just
And
thought
I'll
it'd
get
be
them
nice.
back the next day.
I just thought it might be nice to have a picture of him too, even
Yes.
though he's been gone over 30 years
Exactly.
now.
30 years? That's
Yeah.
What a
impossible.
beautiful picture that is.
Oh, nice.
It was simple wedding, like nowadays they do so much fancy things, but it was the best day of my life.
Uh-huh. That's great.
It's a pretty dress. Oh, I like the long,
Yeah.
slender. Yeah, that's a great picture.
And then, after you got married, where did you live?
Well, we lived for 1 year over to the farm, the Douse farm in Walden. And it wasn't large enough to support both his parents and us. So we moved back to Waterford, moved in with my parents for a while, for quite a while. Yes. And he got a job working at the dam. That's at the time they were... He went back and forth to the farm helping them out for quite a while, but then he got a job at the dam.
The Moore Dam.
Moore Dam, yeah. And then his folks couldn't make it go. They were getting up in years, and they couldn't really do it without him. So we were building this house up in the back of me here for us. But they needed a place to come. They wanted to sell their farm and move over near us. So we gave them a life lease of the house here, and we never did live up there. But anyway, then they came to Waterford also.
So where did you raise your family?
Over here with my parents.
Oh,
yeah, in the home.
And how many kids did you have?
4. 2 boys, 2 girls. Yeah. This isn't all going on the record, is it? Oh,
Whatever you want to put
I
on.
didn't want to blab so much.
No, we're here to hear you blab, because this is all about you.
Do you edit it? I hope.
Huh?
Do you edit it?
No, probably not.
I've been editing the videos because I have to cut them down. I have 5 hours of video.
Okay. Wow.
Excuse me, and I have to edit it down to an hour.
Mm.
So I've got 4 down to 10 and 12 minutes each. And I got 1 more to do.
Mm.
And it's almost done.
But not this. This is the audio version, and all of it is just all about you. And whenever you run out of things to say, then we're finished.
Oh, I shouldn't go into so much detail.
Yes, you should, because the detail is what we want to hear about.
I thought maybe you'd be editing.
Well, try not to edit yourself, because we
Okay.
want to know.
Okay, okay.
That's the beauty of all of this, is that we learn more and more.
Okay.
So, yeah, tell us whatever you want to tell us about your kids. Where are they? If you want to talk about that, that's great.
Okay. So,
Well, we know you have one son who did the floor.
oh, he did a beautiful
And
job.
where does he live?
He lives in Bolton. Bolton, over near
sure,
Waterbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an insurance adjuster for Nationwide.
Uh-huh.
Mm. But he can do most anything.
Well, he's a carpenter too. Huh?
Well, you know, my oldest son lives right down the road here, Everett.
Oh,
And
Everett.
he's in construction
Oh.
and cement work and everything to do with building.
And the daughters?
The daughters, my oldest daughter is Carolyn. She lives in Hyde Park. She and her husband, just for pleasure, raise Belgian horses.
Wow.
He does have a business, a crane business, you know, the big machinery and all that. But they also have a farm down on Route 15 where they have horses, and it's for, how do I describe it? They give lessons for children.
With disabilities?
Yes.
Oh, it's
yes.
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation type thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
And they're very busy with it.
Yeah, that's
And
very rewarding.
they also, in this big barn, they've done the barn all over and made it so beautiful inside too. So they have events going on there to raise money for this project that they're doing.
Riding for rehab, I think, is one way that
Yeah.
some people describe it.
Yeah, and they have a wonderful person who's come on board lately, somebody we knew that is wonderful at this stuff, and she gives lessons and therapy.
Great.
And
Wonderful.
yeah. And then my other daughter, my youngest girl, lives down in Massachusetts. She and her husband live in Norwell, Mass. And they have 2 daughters. One is finishing college down in New Orleans. She's a music therapy major. The other one is junior in high school. Oh,
What's your youngest daughter's name?
Marilyn.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
We didn't get the boys' names, did we?
Yeah, Everett.
Oh, and
Alan, A-L-A-N.
now before we leave this, your husband he built houses,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah, he did. He was raised on the farm,
Uh-huh.
but he turned to building houses. Yes, and he built a good many of them in Waterford, and in this neighborhood in particular.
Did he build the one you were just referring to?
Mm-hmm.
Any others next door?
The A-frame next door was our office. We contracted with Swift Homes was the name of the company. So they were prefab houses, and that was our office. And then years and years later, when, as we get older, we decided to sell it. And my cousin and wife bought it as a second home. They lived in Massachusetts, and they bought the A-frame for a second home.
Great.
Jeannie and Errol Whittemore.
The sign is on it, Whittemore.
Yes, yes.
Now, at what point was there a gas station and the ice cream stand, and then eventually the restaurant?
Yeah.
Right?
My husband built this, and
Built this.
that side, yes, I'll show you the picture here. As a gas station and a little takeout. It had a little takeout window, and my mom was the one that ran that while Dad was working in town. And she became so busy with the little takeout window that we decided to add on and make it a restaurant. But here's how it looked when it was just a takeout.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then here's how it ended up. Huh.
That is super. Look at that. So I'll be scanning these because
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember
and
that.
so
No,
that was
you-
located right here.
Yes, it was
We're in
right
it.
here.
We're
Oh,
in
we're
it.
in it.
You're in it, yeah. Years ago, when I used to have a lot of company, which I don't so much anymore, of course,
Wonderful picture.
I felt like I was still running the restaurant
Wonderful
when I used to
picture.
cook a lot and all. So that's all changed. So
Where did you play piano and organ at the church?
I did
Yeah.
for a little over 50 years.
Wow. Wow. Where did
And-
you learn to play piano?
Well, I didn't. I just took lessons down in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
And I loved the piano, and I loved church music. And I never intended when we moved here to be playing down here, but towards the early part of our coming, there was this wonderful lady that was playing the organ, Doris Hudson, her name was. And she became ill, and I took over for her. And I remember telling her, Doris, I'll play till you are able to come back. Well, she never was able to come back, so I kept on playing. And finally, I kept saying every now and then, you better find somebody new, you need new blood here. But they didn't listen very good. Till finally, I became real serious about it, and I said, I really wish you'd find somebody. So we're so fortunate to find this. Oh, gee, my mind's gone. Joel. Well, anyway, he's a real trained musician who we've been fortunate to have. I think it's about 10 years now that he's been playing for us.
And what about the organs over the years? Is it?
Well, when the first of it was a pump organ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then it wasn't too long before we got one that was electrical. Yeah. And then we've since been able to afford a newer version that was a little bigger than the first one. Yeah.
So what happened to the old one? Did that?
It was sold, but I don't remember where it went. Really.
Well, aside from playing, you sang. Also?
No.
Oh, no?
No.
You never did.
No, I mean, my voice isn't that. My granddaughter I told you about that's finishing school is studying music therapy.
Yeah.
That's
But she
great.
didn't get it from me.
Oh, no. Your family wasn't musical
Well,
particularly?
we all liked music and all, but nobody else was a really singer like she is. Yeah. She sang at a couple of memorial services down here
Oh.
the last couple of years.
Did you play the organ in any other places besides this church here? For weddings or
I used to
funeral?
play for a lot of weddings and funerals down here. No
Oh,
other,
just here
no
at the
other
church.
place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were trying to not do more than you did.
Well, I just thought it was, it'd be nice for somebody new to come in, but I did enjoy it though. I have a plaque they gave me when I retired, and they gave me a beautiful retirement party from playing. And it's just, I can't wait to get my things back up on the wall. I have it right there over my keyboard.
Oh, nice. Well, that's what that is. I should have known.
I sold my piano, and I kind of missed that a lot, so the kids got me this.
And how does it compare?
No, I like the piano better.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
You played piano first.
Yeah.
Well, keep your fingers.
But at least it's nice to have it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I still have my mother's piano.
Do you?
I'm trying to teach myself. So.
Good.
I've got both hands going.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
She played quite a bit?
She did.
She
was very
did.
Good.
Yeah.
She used to chord with her uncle's band
Oh.
back in the probably 30s.
Oh.
Back in the 30s.
Well, I remember you folks quite well.
They had kitchen junkets.
Yeah, so... Well, over when we lived in the big house over there and took guests, and most of the people that came we knew, and we'd get around the piano and sing, and
nice.
and some of the people that came could really play beautifully, and we'd just have wonderful times.
Wow.
One of my daughters and I was speaking of it recently. I don't know whether people do that anymore.
Not so much, I don't think.
No.
Except for families that are musical, I think they
Yeah.
just can't not keep it going.
We had wonderful times.
Do you remember the farms along this road, Route 18?
Oh, yes. The one down the foot of the hill was the Cushing farm.
That is the Cushing farm.
The yellow
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one thing my dad did that first winter we were here. He couldn't find work, so he helped Will Cushing sugaring. And they did it the old-fashioned way then. And he had a place way up on the Shadow Lake Road then. It wasn't called Shadow Lake Road then. Maybe it was. But anyway, that's where their other farm was. And my dad, he was kind of a not real heavy-set man, He was strong, though, and he lugged those sap buckets and trudged through that
Snow.
Snow.
Deep snow.
With the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, but one thing I should tell you, because I don't want to forget this. When we came here, we never were in such a friendly place. It didn't take long at all for all the neighbors, one by one, two by two, to come by to welcome us. And they'd usually bring us some eggs or a jar of jelly or something. And the first winter we lived here, we ran out of water. It froze under the road because the spring is way up across here. And we ran out of water. Well, our next door neighbors, Ira and Elizabeth Walk, kept us supplied with water. They brought in all these great big milk cans and kept them full. And then there was a wood furnace at the time, too. They kept us supplied with wood. We never heard of such wonderful neighbors. Where we lived was a nice place, but not quite like the country.
I think we've been hearing that from pretty much everybody, that there was a real community.
Oh my, wonderful. Yeah, we went to church the first Sunday we were here, and I'm still going. Yeah. We used to meet down in the basement to save on heat. So the first Sunday we went, it was real different for us to see that, because we came from a big church down in Brockton. But we loved it. Yeah.
Now, the Cushman farm, you said his name was Will?
Will Cushing.
Will Cushing. Did he have a son named George?
Yes.
Because he stopped by my house a few years
Did
ago.
he? Yes.
He's the one that had one leg missing.
Yes, he did.
He told me he went fishing, and a game warden walked up, and he says, "Are you fishing?" And he says, "No." So the game warden left, and says he had the fish. The leg was wooden, and he said he had the fish inside the leg.
Oh,
Pretty clever.
Wasn't that clever? Yeah.
they had quite a few children, and George was one of them. I think he finally moved to St. Albans.
Oh, okay.
And there's one of their grandchildren, I believe it would be, lives in Waterford. He might be a state trooper. Over,
Oh, I saw that name and I was wondering if he was related.
yes, he is.
Okay.
I can't think what his name is, but do you know the house? Do you know where young Bernard Willie lives?
No.
Okay. Well, it's going to West Waterford. Over,
Duck Pond?
no, well, you could go either way, but I would go down through the village. I'm trying to think of how it connects with the Nutter Farm, where it's located in connection with that. It would be beyond the Nutter Farm.
Mm.
And there's two houses. One, I think, might be a log cabin. Anyway, Bernard Willie lives in one, and this Cushing family lives in the other.
Oh, okay.
Just before you go around, instead of going on, what's that road called that goes out to Passumpsic? Hale. You don't go on Hale Road, you go around past the Nutter Farm.
Okay. And the Nutter Farm is on Duck Pond, I thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. So that's where the Cushing fellow lives.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Now, you had a barn on your property. over
Yes, oh yes, I got all kinds of pictures. It burned in September 1964. We never were too sure what started it, but it could have taken the whole house, but the wind changed just in time. It did catch on the corner of the kitchen part of the house, and they caught it just in time. It was a Sunday morning, and my mother was the one that saw the smoke. She was over here getting ready for Sunday dinner, and so I had a cousin that was going to do the service down the church here that day. And when he got there was nobody there because everybody had come down to the fire. So we were fortunate it didn't do more damage than it did. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Was that a big barn? Oh, you got a picture?
Oh, I got a lot of pictures. So. I didn't know what you'd want, so this is how it looked when it was.
Did you have any animals?
Yeah.
No, Ira Walk had a lot of things stored down in the barn, the machinery and things.
And whose cattle was that?
That was his.
Oh, okay.
He pastured his cows up on our land right over here. Oh dear, I don't know. Now what am I looking for?
The barn?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's just a building that was attached to the house. No, that's not the barn. But where did I put it? I'm probably making this too long for
No,
you.
you're not. Not at all.
Well, I thought I had a nice one. Right? Huh. Well, I'll find it eventually here.
Now I have a picture of the barn at the Cushing farm
Yes.
with cows in the pasture.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave, was it Kathy? I think she's a member of the history group. I don't know if it's a granddaughter or...
Oh, Quine.
Oh,
Oh, Quine, or however that she...
oh, coin.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So I gave her a copy.
Yes. Well, isn't that funny? I know I put one in here, but I can't find it.
We can look through it.
Can we look through later?
afterwards,
Can we-
yeah.
okay,
'Cause I'll
okay.
take them home and
Okay.
scan them,
Okay.
and it'll be in the file.
Okay.
I remember your mother at church every Sunday. That it seemed like she was very religious, I think, wasn't she?
Well, they thought a lot of this place and
Yeah.
all its people.
Yeah.
They were big workers in the church.
Mm.
My dad used to go down and do a lot of janitor work and,
Yeah.
just take part wherever they were needed.
Yeah.
Now, she did a lot of cooking. Where did she shop, mostly?
In St. Johnsbury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't go to Littleton.
Not so much. Not so much. Even though it's a little closer. But my dad worked in
Oh,
there.
that's right.
And he did a lot of the shopping.
Perfect.
Yeah. So,
What year did you move into this house?
In 1986, no, 84.
Was it just you and your husband?
Yes, it had gotten down to just me and my husband and my dad. My dad was still with us, so the three of us moved over here.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking we'd try it one winter, see if we could save a little on fuel and so forth. We had intended to sell it, but it was at the time interest rates were so high, nothing was moving very good, so we came over here that winter and ended up staying.
And what about the house at that point? Across the street?
Yeah, it wasn't too long before the Charltons, who owned Rabbit Hill, wanted to buy it. Did buy it.
Charlton?
Yes. Charlton. Eric and Beryl bought it.
Beryl?
Yes.
1969, you said?
84.
Oh, 84.
No, they moved here 84.
Oh, 84.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't too long after that they bought it. Here.
When did the Formica Aldridge build? Did that take part of the property, or is that all separate?
No, my dad sold the property to... first of all, we owned the house had 128 acres with it. It wasn't just the house and the barns, it was 128 acres.
Yeah,
it was 50 on that side and the rest on this side. So he didn't intend to sell off plots of land, but that's how it turned out. People would come to him, and so he did sell the land to the Waldrons. John and Shirley Waldron bought that land next to us over there. And then 3 or 4 places up here on this side, people came to him, so he did sell off some land, and that's how all these houses came to be.
So, nice neighborhood.
Yes, yes.
Did your father ever serve on the, do anything for the town, elected or appointed?
He was, I'm not sure what committee, he was on something, I know. He used to go to the meetings with Ken Aldrich, whatever it was. I don't remember now for sure which committee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, my mother made pies for Rabbit Hill Inn for a long time, and my dad would deliver them. Sometimes one of the kids would go with him. She had all these pie baskets, took 2 pies, and he'd go down with all these fresh baked pies to Rabbit Hill. She was on their menu, Gladys homemade pies.
Great. What was your favorite?
Oh, golly. I think mine might have been lemon meringue.
Oh, I can understand that.
And John Carroll would call her, sometimes especially in the fall when they were extra busy, and he'd say, Gladys, could you make us up enough desserts for 25, 30 people? She'd get busy and start peeling apples or whatever and make them up some more dessert. Yeah. One of my girls in particular, I think, used to go down with her grandpa and help him deliver the pies. Yeah.
Have you seen many changes on Route 18 since the interstate came through?
Oh, yes. Oh, of course, everything went by here. The big tour buses used to stop out near our driveway, and you'd see people running across our lawn to take pictures of the river and everything, the view down back.
Mm-hmm.
And, lots of motorcycles sometimes would go. It was a lot of traffic. We had to be so careful getting out of our yard. Well, you still do, but it was a lot of traffic. Yeah. So.
And what about Anita Oakes, who managed the Rabbit Hill Inn?
Yeah, she was...
Do you remember much about her?
I do remember her quite well. I don't know what to tell you. She was a very nice person. And she did a good job with the inn.
And this is when your mother baked the pies for the inn?
I don't think she started doing it until the Carrolls came.
Oh, okay.
I think that's when it happened. Yeah. But the people around here have been so wonderful right from the start. Couldn't have asked for nicer neighbors, friends. Yeah.
That's what makes this project special.
Mm.
We can get
Yeah.
all these memories out there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, was Eugenie Powers a neighbor?
Oh, yes,
Which house
Jeannie.
did she live?
Well, of course, she grew up and lived for years and years in the old farmhouse that her folks owned. And then, sometime after they had passed on, she decided to sell the farm and build a place. And Dad sold her the land right next to the A-frame going down the hill. He built that for Jeannie. Yeah. And
The one
now,
that's set back a little bit?
yes,
Uh-huh.
the white one,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah. And now my cousin Errol's daughter bought it. Errol Whittemore's daughter. She lives in Massachusetts, but she bought that as a vacation home. Not a vacation home, but a second place to come to. So many memories up
Now,
here.
was your cousin already here, Errol,
No,
when you got here?
no. He and his wife Jeannie lived down in Massachusetts.
Okay, then they moved.
But they were our most frequent guests. They'd come up a lot. And so when we had decided to sell the A-frame, he said, would you sell it to us? So they bought it as a second home.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't move up here permanently. It was after Jeannie died that he moved up a year or two later permanently. And, yeah. So I think he was 92 when he passed on. Yeah.
No, he was a nephew of your father?
Yes, he was my first cousin. Yeah.
Because I noticed the names are very similar. So.
Yeah, well, that just happened, I guess. But
And were they from the Brockton area too?
they were in Brockton,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
And that was where the Whittemores were. That was
Yeah,
home base. Really.
yeah. It used to be a very, very nice place to live, and now, oh goodness, it's not
Yeah,
anymore.
This Boston, all one area.
Mm,
Yeah.
no, it's not very nice anymore.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
So you knew Dorothy Kimball quite well.
Oh yes, I think I put a picture of she and you in here.
Oh,
I
great.
didn't know if you would want any of those folks that are no longer with us,
We
and
do.
if you had
Absolutely.
contacted some of the family or not. I wished I had these in better order, but I'll put that there. Yes, the Kimballs were great friends, and again, big workers in the church. And of course, she was town clerk for I don't know how many years.
Quite a while.
Quite a
I
while.
bet over 20 years.
Yeah, I think I have a picture here of their 50th anniversary party.
I went to school with her children.
Yes, nice kids.
Definitely.
Yeah, nice kids. I still keep in touch with Betty,
Oh, you do?
Mhm.
Great.
and a little bit with Carolyn.
Mhm. Where's Carolyn now?
She's out in Colorado.
Oh, she is in Colorado.
I believe it's Colorado. I think I got that right. Isn't that fun? Oh, yes, finally, Dot and you, Kimball, 50th anniversary.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Yeah.
Huge cake.
Uh-huh.
Looks good. Can you tell us about some of the people in your pictures? And
Yes.
because I'll scan them, but
Okay.
it's nice if you tell us about them. so
Okay,
we can-
well, this one is Clarence and Mary Young, and I've got a picture of them on their 65th wedding anniversary and their 70th wedding anniversary and his 100th
And
birthday.
who are they?
Oh, they lived up on Old County.
Mm.
You go up Madbrook Road,
Madbrook, take a right.
take a right, and that's the first place on the left. And he found all those years that they came, oh goodness, they came here in, golly, I think it was the 1920s maybe?
Was that big farmhouse, the White House on Old County?
Oh, no.
No,
Just
you-
before that.
okay.
It's before that.
Right after you take that right-hand turn
Okay.
on the left.
Yeah. Well, he found for years and years. He also was a school bus driver. And again, they were big workers in the church and all, and wonderful people. So anyway, she passed on first, but she also lived to be a good old age. And here was their 65th anniversary. And then I got one somewhere here of their 70th anniversary. I thought I had these in better order. Let me see here. No, I can't seem to find anything I'm looking for. Huh? Anyway, he lived to be 100. And his granddaughter lives right next to where they lived. Melody Peterson? Do you know Melody? No? And she looked after them their last years at home. Took wonderful care of them. And anyway, she was thinking that maybe he wouldn't quite make it to his 100th birthday, so she gave him a big party on his 99th. And up at the home, at his home there. And then he did end up in the rehab, St. Johnsbury rehab. But she gave him another party when he turned 100 in there. And I got some pictures here showing him with his little grandchildren. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment, isn't it?
And this is Melody, his granddaughter. This is their...
Oh, she looks familiar.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is their 70th anniversary. Don't they look good?
Wow.
Yeah, and there's them just in 2002. So they were great people in the community, great people. I think all the kids loved him on the school bus. Yeah. Well, and I was thinking also of Florence Fleming. She's 98 now, and now she's in a care home over in Northfield. She finally moved from St. John. They moved from Waterford to St. Johnsbury when her husband was still living, Gordon Fleming.
Is this Bryant's
Bryant's,
father?
yes.
Mother?
Yes.
My mother and Gordon were cousins.
Oh, I guess I knew that, yeah. Anyway, they, in later years, moved from Waterford to St. Johnsbury, and she stayed in her own place till about, I don't know what, maybe 5-6 years ago now.
About that.
Moved over with her daughter and Barry. And then just last year, a year before, she went into the Northfield. I don't know what it's called, but she's 98.
Great.
Yeah. So, what else? Elizabeth Walk, have you heard of her?
No.
No?
Have you?
They're the ones that lived right on the farm
Yeah, right next door.
next door.
Who's Ira's?
Ira's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was her 90th birthday.
1997.
Yeah.
She looks excellent. This is her
Oh,
90th
she was-
birthday? Look at
She was a beautiful
For
lady.
90.
Yeah, that was her
Oh,
90th.
No gray hair.
No, she...
I love the hat.
yeah. Well, you know a story about her. I don't know if I should keep on.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Well, she was about to be turning 90, and her family came from Connecticut. She had a couple of sisters still down there, and some nieces and all. And so she wasn't surprised that they were coming up for her birthday, 90th birthday. But anyway, she didn't know anything about the party, which they had over across the river at that VFW or whatever it is.
Oh,
across
okay.
Anyway, there was a plan that sounded a little suspicious to her. One of the nieces, I guess, said, we want to take you out for lunch, Aunt Elizabeth. We want to take you out for lunch. Well, they got over as far as coming to that place, and Elizabeth see they were turning it. She was turning in. She said, is something going on? And she said, yes, Aunt Elizabeth, yes, there is. And she said, take me home, I want to change my dress. She had planned if there was going to be anything, she wanted to wear that blue dress. So she took her home and,
She did. It's blue in the picture.
yeah, they took her home and she changed her dress and came back all
Oh, that's nice.
spiffy, yeah.
Well, that'll teach us something about trying to surprise people. Maybe it's not a good idea. You want to look a certain way.
So anyway, I just thought some of these older people that are no longer with us, it was just,
Yes.
they were just such wonderful people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Well, we do want to hear about them because if they're not with us, we can't interview them. You
Right.
can tell us whatever you want about them.
Well, there's another thing about Rabbit Hill that I don't know if you've heard of the Bleeze, they called it, Bleze. It means blaze in Scottish. And for a while, Reverend Clint Blake and his wife, they were originally from Massachusetts. They came here. I think they might have been friends of John and Ruth Carroll. I'm not sure of that. But anyway, the house that John and Ruth built way up on the hill, right opposite the church and the library, that place where
Yeah.
I think it's part of the inn now, or the owners probably.
Right.
Okay. Ruth and John built that for themselves, but this Reverend Blake and his wife ended up leasing it for 5 years. They lived there. And he started what was called the Bleeze, and it was held at the inn, and it was a special event so many weeks after Christmas. And they had this, first they had a little social time and singing carols or whatever, and then we went into this big banquet. This is Arnold Waters, you've heard of Arnold Waters. He always brought the big ham, and everybody brought something, I believe is how it went.
It looks delicious.
And had a
Oh,
wonderful
wow.
evening. And the last of it, after the social and the singing and the feasting and all, anybody that had some greens from the Christmas holiday, they brought them over onto that empty lot right across from the library, and that was the Bleeze. They put them to set them on fire.
Ah,
Yeah.
the blaze,
Had a-
blaze.
At a Bleeze, yeah. And so that's my husband and me and my dad and John Carroll and Cindy Carroll, one of the daughters of John and Ruth.
Oh, let's see this.
That was,
Ah,
and this is Arnold Waters. Did you ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a wonderful man.
First time I met him, it was Green Up Day,
Oh,
and we were supposed to go pick up
Trash.
trash on the side of the road.
Mhm.
And so Arnold and I were the only ones left that hadn't been assigned a road. So we got assigned the road, and he
Mhm.
said, "No, come with me, and I'll drive."
Oh,
I got into her Mercedes-Benz picking up garbage. I couldn't get over that.
oh, he was wonderful.
obviously, you remember.
He was a geologist
Yeah.
by trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after his wife died, gosh, he still kept busy with the town affairs and the
Yeah.
church, and he often had guests come in to a meal or a little social time. And yeah, that's him there cutting the ham, I guess, and that's my husband, and that's John Waldron. He just passed on last year. So I don't know.
Is this?
No, that I realized after I looked at it a while, that was John Carroll's mother.
Oh.
I think it was Lucille. I think her name was Lucille Carroll. And she used to help out there
Oh.
quite a bit. So
Your
Yeah.
pictures are in good shape because a lot of the older pictures get that reddish color to them.
yeah,
But these are still good.
yeah, they're pretty good, really. So where do we go from here? I don't know. Pictures of the old house. I'm going kind of backwards, I think.
Fine.
That's pictures of the old house.
Oh, they look great.
And this is taken from up on the hill looking down.
So there's no porch on this house anymore.
No. The Charltons asked before they did it.
Yeah.
My dad was still living, and they said we wanted to make a change over there, but we didn't want to do it unless you agreed, and we'd like to take off the porch. So he gave permission. This was taken from up on the hill, looking down on the gas station in the other house.
Oh, nice.
The reason I laid this picture out was because this is Florence Fleming in the middle.
Who was that?
Florence Fleming,
Oh, uh-huh.
when she was still living back here. And then Bob and Marilyn Morrison would be David Morrison's cousin, Bob Morrison, and they would come up every summer. He grew up here in Waterford, Bob did, and Marilyn grew up in St. Johnsbury. She was a Fitch. Her father was a dentist, Fitch. Anyway, they used to come out to church. So, yeah, they aren't standing right together, but that's Bob Morrison and Marilyn.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have expected David might tell you about them. I don't know.
He might have.
I don't know.
We haven't yet interviewed him.
Oh, you have that. I bumped into him, or he bumped into me, I guess, over in Littleton yesterday, and I told him I was going to do this today, and he said he'd done a few.
Yes.
This was the way it looked. This was the walk farm down next to us when the barn was still there.
So did you see the Route 18 change when the dam was being built?
Well, it wasn't until after the interstate went in that we saw a lot of changes,
Oh, okay.
I would say.
Did it affect any of your property?
Yes, they did take some way up there, yes. Well, what happened is there was some, yes, they took some that we couldn't get to our property on the other side.
Okay.
It was landlocked or whatever. Yeah.
And what about the Moore Dam? Were you able to see many changes?
Oh,
Did you ever know Upper Waterford? Probably
no,
not.
and I feel so disappointed that I didn't. I should have, it seems like, when I hear all about it and the dates that they tell.
But many of the buildings were already gone by then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you saw it being flooded. I guess.
Yes, and when they moved the cemetery
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah. This was my mom and dad and me.
Nice picture.
This was how it looked across here on this side of the street, looking from there across the street. Back then, there was nothing over here, just pasture and a little road going up to the dump.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody had their own dump back then.
Oh.
This was my mom and dad when they were first married.
Great.
And this was when we first moved up here. Maybe I showed you that. I think I did. I think I had two of that. I don't know why I had
This
two.
is a nice picture.
Yeah, that's the second
Nice to
one.
have that.
Whatever. So let's see. And my cousin Errol Whittemore, like I say, he bought the A-frame. Well, he and Jeannie bought the A-frame, and then of course she passed on sometime later. And this was when he was about 90 years old. He still had a garden. It's before it got planted that year, but that was
It's a good sign.
good sized garden. And I put that in because he always had a dog.
Nice. Where is he there? Somewhere out west, it looks like.
Probably. He traveled a lot.
Yes.
I traveled with him some after Jeannie. Well, I went with them when Jeannie was still with us too, and then after that, we did go on a few trips out west. It was
Great.
wonderful. Yeah. Now this is something I should have showed you to start with. When we first moved here, there was this little farmhouse across the street from the library, where that lot is empty now.
It burned, right?
Yes, it did. I think it was the first or second winter we were here. It burned.
And I don't think I've ever seen a picture with.
Yeah.
We'll get this one in the
Definitely.
scan.
Yeah, I remember that. It was carpenters lived there. I don't know which ones. But this was another one of Errol.
And his dog.
You may know. just feel free to.
We'll
Chuck
discuss-
aside.
When we're finished, we'll just discuss which one we should scan.
So this was me at the organ. And I think why I put these out, let's see here. Yeah, when we first came here, the church had this platform. I know Carol Bonnet told everybody about that.
Sitting on the porch.
She missed it when that was, but see, that's how it was before they put in the cement steps.
Oh,
It was just a wooden platform. So, and this is just a snow picture, so I don't think that's of any value. And this is the 200th celebration of the church. And I had the little clipping with it.
This will scan.
Yeah,
I won't read it now.
I think this is the same thing. And I just had this because this was Jack Hurd and John and Shirley Waldron, just because they were some of the older folks but that's another one of Clara's. This shows the little farmhouse
Yeah.
too. And I think on the back
a
of,
beautiful picture.
is that on the back the church thing? Yeah, so it tells the date and everything.
1951, December 23rd.
Yeah.
A beautiful shot.
And then this is just a picture taken from this side of the village that I kind of liked it because that was Joe and Dick Hurley's house.
Now that's where Jen.
Where Jen lives
librarian
now. Yes.
It's a lovely shot. I haven't seen it from this.
I wonder
point
if
of
she's
view.
got one of those. Maybe she'd like that.
We can scan that. Why don't we do when we can take that?
Yeah.
And we'll offer that to her. She probably.
She may
thrilled.
have it, but I don't know.
Well, maybe not.
And what was that?
We've been through these.
You've been through them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I took a long time.
You did great.
These are two different pictures. Because, this one has the moon, and this one doesn't.
And in this one, you can see our farmhouse. In this one,
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that
yes.
there?
Yeah.
Now the
That's
trees
your
are so
farm.
big you can't see.
Oh, I know
anything.
it. No.
See, you can see the barn in this one.
And I have some
Look at
great
that
ones of the
when you get
barn, Lynn.
That-
I have some great ones of the barn. I don't know why I didn't put some in.
We'll let you have time to find it.
I
And then
will.
we'll
I'll look.
scan it in.
I'll look some more.
These are just
Turn it
beautiful.
over.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
I'm trying to figure out what magazine it was in.
I don't-
This one was in
Oh,
Vermont Life, was it? It said, Vermont Life, but this one...
yeah, that. I don't know what
I
that
don't
come
think-
out
I don't
of.
think it was Vermont Life.
You want to open that one that's rolled up? This must have been when I showed this to David Morrison one day, and he doesn't ever remember there was a mailbox there. And we don't know who the lady
I
is.
was going to ask you.
We don't know who it is.
And there's David's family's home. Down there.
Yes, yes. It doesn't look like that now.
Looking very nice.
No, I don't know if there's any more there. No,
Look how careful you were storing them.
I don't know. It
It was a very good idea. With Jordan Marsh Company ads on the back.
are they in business? No,
They closed a long
Did
time
they
ago
sell
now.
to
They sold to Macy's.
Macy's? I was trying to
Yeah.
think of Macy's. Yeah, they did.
Have I told you about the picture I found at the Middlebury Inn?
No, I don't think so.
When I audited the Addison County Farm Service Agency, I used to stay at the Middlebury Inn.
Okay.
And one day I was walking down the hall, and they had all these big black and white pictures on the wall, supposedly all of Middlebury. And I walked past one, and it was some school kids coming up Maple Street, right beside the church in Lower Waterford.
Really?
And I thought one of them was David, but David's not sure if that's him or not.
Oh, so that picture that we've got hanging down in our vestry
Yeah, that's not that one. No,
with the
this
kids pulling the sleds?
no,
Oh,
they're coming up the street from David's house. And
okay.
there's
Okay.
2 kids in the front, and you can just barely see 2 or 3 in the background.
And David wasn't sure if it was him?
Right, I could have sworn it was him, but you know,
Wow.
he was only just a young kid at that time. And
Well,
I
he
think
wasn't
it
very old when we moved here, I know. I don't know just
This is probably in the
how old
50s.
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remembered that picture. So when I went back after I retired, I was in Middlebury for something,
Yeah.
and I went to have lunch at the Middlebury Inn.
Mhm.
And so I told the owner, and he said, "Well, show me." So I went, took him up the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And I said, "There's the picture," and he said, "That's not Middlebury. That's Lower Waterford,
Yeah.
Village."
Yeah.
And I told him the story.
Yeah.
And he took it off the wall and said, "Here, it's yours."
Isn't that nice?
So I still have it, and I haven't given it to the town yet. And I want to get a new frame for it,
Yeah.
and then give it to the town or history group.
Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah.
I gotta take care of that one of these days.
Yeah.
Well, a few years ago, we found a Christmas card with a picture of White Village on it. And that was a nice surprise.
They're out there.
It used to be, I think, it used to be photographed a lot more than it has been lately,
Yeah.
as far as I know. It was quite,
Quite picturesque.
Yeah.
I think Peachum kind of took over.
Oh, did
Yeah.
they?
I don't know.
I
Depends
sh-
where the photographers live.
I showed you the picture of the puzzle. I've got a picture
Yes.
of Peachum.
Yes. Nice.
I'll show Lynn.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, if I can get up.
I'm going to pause this or ask you.
Okay. Did Donald do the brick entryway that's curved?
Yes, he did, and there's one leading down the hallway there too, a smaller one.
Right.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
yeah,
work.
he made it over into a dwelling, not for us to live in. There was no idea of that when he did it. We planned to sell it, you know, but then it turned out we decided to come over here one winter and ended up staying, and he did a beautiful job on it. And the boys, actually, Everett and Alan, helped him quite a bit too. They are both great carpenters and workmen.
They learned from him.
Yes, they did. Yeah. So this is home now.
Well, it's perfect for you.
Yes, yes. I don't know. I couldn't have managed the other place unless I had rented out some rooms or something.
So big.
We still miss that place though, but I'm glad I'm where I can see it. And the other thing that pleases me so much is the people that are living there, how much they also take care of it. They've beautified it in the grounds.
They love the house.
We took care of it, you know, like kept it in good repair, but we didn't have the means to beautify it like they have in the grounds.
So who did the Charlton sell to?
Well, they rented it out a few times, and then I think the first ones that became owners again was, oh golly, I know her name so well here. Oh, I'm going to have to think on that.
Before right before the Mitchells?
Yes, yes. I'll have to think that over because I know it so well. I can't.
It'll come to you later.
It will, yeah. So anyway, that's how it was.
Those grounds over there are just
Oh, they're beautiful.
gorgeous.
They're working on it all the time.
They opened it up for the garden tour.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a real
Carrie Brodzinski.
Okay.
Carrie and Ted bought it, and then he moved west, and she's still in this area. Yeah. So they were wonderful neighbors too. Carrie is still a friend. Mm. Yeah.
How do you spell Carrie?
She spells it Carey, which I would have thought was the boy's name. So I guess that was all about that.
Well, Barbara, we thank you very much for sharing your
Well,
wonderful story with us.
You're welcome. I hope it was okay.
This has
It
been
was
great fun.
You know, I guess I did think you were going to edit it, so I thought it was okay if I told a few side stories.
We love them. We
Okay.
would never think of editing it.
Okay.